Some of you guys may already know this, but I actually do stream on Twitch pretty much daily at this point, twitch.tv/PrimitiveAK. Go ahead and watch me live. Drop a follow on my Twitch. That's twitch.tv/PrimitiveAK. Let's get into the video.
There are no strings on me.
Bro. Hey, what is going on, everybody? It is your boy Connor, your Primitive AK here, back with another video for you guys today. Today we have a bit of a special video. I haven't really done any of these types of videos before, but I figured it would be most ideal to get this up on my channel to help you guys out that are struggling to find the best assault rifle. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. Really appreciate you guys showing the love and support as usual. But today's video, we're going to be covering the top 3 assault rifles in Warzone, deciding which one is the best one by looking at its best class setups as well as the stats on the weapons, and that is going to be the RAM-7 versus the M4A1 versus the GRAU 5.56. These are the 3 most consistent assault rifles, RAM-7 being the least popular of the 3, which I find quite surprising. So we're going to be covering the stats on this weapon. Now let's start with the actual damage of each of the weapons. The damage of all 3 weapons, I want to make this clear, is actually the same. It's the same in multiplayer, it's the same in Warzone, and the headshot damage is the same as well. It's going to be roughly about 9 to 14 shots to kill at full armor. So you're probably thinking right off the bat, what is the point? Just pick one. They're literally all the same. Well, that's not entirely true. So like I said, the damage is 28 to 18 at extreme ranges, 9 to 14 shots to kill at full armor in Warzone. But here's where things start to get a little bit more complicated. Now, the rounds per minute of the M4A1 is going to be roughly around 810. Obviously, that could change a bit based off of your attachments. I know there is an SMG attachment which dramatically increases the fire rate, but also decreases the damage. But like I mentioned, the stats are going to be based off of the most ideal attachments for Warzone, so I want to make that very clear. This is not base weapon stats. This is just all the attachments combined and the overall stats of those when you combine them together. So the M4A1 is going to be sitting at an 810 rounds per minute. RAM-7 is going to be sitting at around an 880 rounds per minute, and the GRAU 5.56 at the slowest one sitting at about 750 rounds per minute. So there's probably a reason why these rounds per minute are a little bit different, GRAU being the slowest one, but this is where things get a little bit even more complicated, where you're going to have to decide which one is the best one for you, and I'm going to talk about my opinions on the best assault rifle at the end. Now the big difference with all of these is the range. The M4A1 at range at 9 shots to kill is going to be roughly around 41 meters with the best attachment. That's using the Grenadier barrel. That's the one that everybody uses. 14 shots to kill at 70 meters, which isn't too bad. But you know, obviously we're going to move on to the next one. The RAM-7 with the lowest amount of range is going to be at 9 shots to kill at 40 meters, 14 shots up to 72 meters. GRAU 5.56 coming in at 9 shots to kill at 45 meters, which is the most amount of range that we're seeing. At 14 shots at extreme ranges, that's going to be 90 meters max. That is a huge difference, and you guys could probably see why the GRAU 5.56 is the most ideal weapon for Warzone. It's the most popular one that's being used, and I can definitely see why, especially with the range. And that's using the Archangel barrel. I want to make that clear as well. That's not using the other barrel that I mentioned, the Nexus, but the Nexus is still very good. I think you're only going to lose roughly about 3 to 4 meters of range, which really isn't big of a deal. With the fire rate, it's really not going to matter too much. You're still going to melt people. Moving on, the ADS speed for the M4A1 is going to be roughly around 316 milliseconds or less. And the reason why I say or less is because that 316 is with the Grenadier barrel. If you're running something like Stifle Grip Tape, that's going to decrease it even further, roughly around 290 milliseconds. The GRAU 5.56 is going to come in at 333 milliseconds. That's with the Archangel barrel. If you run Stifle Grip Tape or any other type of ADS increaser attachment, that's going to decrease even further. You can get that under 200 milliseconds or under 300 milliseconds easily. And the RAM-7, last but not least, is going to be at 283 milliseconds or less. And if you're running any type of attachments that are increasing your ADS even further or decreasing, that number will change. So I definitely recommend you rock stapled grip tape on all your classes, just so that way you can decrease that ADS speed just a little bit further. And moving on, the reload time for the weapons are pretty much all the same. RAM-7's a little bit faster, but the M4A1 is going to come in at 1.33 seconds when you have bullets in the mag. When it's at full empty, it's going to be about 1.7. Same goes for the GRAU 5.56. Only difference with the RAM-7 is that on empty it's going to be a little bit faster with your reload speed, but for the most part all these weapons are pretty much all the same. Me personally, I prefer the M4A1 in most engagements. I want to make it very clear, if you are an aggressive type of player, you are super hyper aggressive, the ideal weapon that you'll want to be going with is the M4A1 or the RAM-7. A lot of people tend to ignore the RAM-7. I'm not entirely sure why. I guess maybe because, you know, M4 seems to be the meta right now and everyone's using it. But I want to make you guys you know, check out the RAM-7. Just play around with it. I was actually using the RAM-7 when Warzone first came out, and I did a video on it. If you guys want to check that out, I'll leave an annotation on screen. But the RAM-7 is definitely a weapon that you should not be sleeping on. If you're an aggressive, hyper aggressive team that likes to go for a lot of kills, you bum rush every single team, you don't sit in buildings at all, definitely check out the RAM-7 and the M4A1. Those are going to be your two go-to attachments. However, for the general population, if you guys like to play it a little bit more safe, a little bit more passive, not camping, but if you guys like to play a little bit more passive and just kind of pick your fights carefully and pick your shots carefully, the GRAU 5.56 is going to be the ideal way to go for this one. And the reason for that is because it's slow rounds per minute, but its low recoil is going to account for a lot of those shots at longer ranges. It does have the most amount of damage at longer ranges and extreme ranges, and I feel like this weapon is very high in consistency, and is part of the reason why everybody uses it, because of that high consistency. But the overall stats of it compared to the M4A1 are actually not that great. But the reason why everybody uses the GRAU, like I mentioned, it's extremely easy to use, and I completely understand that. But me personally, if you're that aggressive style of player, then definitely recommend that you stick with the M4A1 if that's what you're already using, or check out the RAM-7. But all three assault rifles are very good. It's really entirely just personal preference. You'll have to play around with them, see what works best for you. Now moving on, guys, I'm actually going to show you guys the 3 best class setups, or basically class setups for each of the weapons that I feel are going to be most ideal, so you guys get a better idea of what I'm explaining in the video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the gunsmith and show the best class setups for all 3 weapons. Alright, what is going on, everybody? We are here over at the Gunsmith, showing you guys the 3 best class setups. So this is my Warzone setup that I primarily use for the M4A1. Let's go ahead and get right into the attachments. It's going to be the monolithic suppressor, your stock M16 grenadier, your commando foregrip, 60 round mag, stapled grip tape. So like I mentioned, a few of these attachments like the 60 round mags, M16 grenadier, and monolithic suppressor are going to dramatically increase that ADS speed, which is kind of a bit of a negative. But like I said, the stapled grip tape is going to decrease that just a tad bit. You don't really need a red dot on this, but like I mentioned, this is going to be the most ideal setup. You're not going to have to worry too much about ADS speed or any other type of issues that I mentioned with other class setups and other attachments. But moving on, let's go ahead and get right into the RAM-7 setup. So the RAM-7, not too much really changes with the RAM-7. Same thing, is pretty much almost the same exact attachments for this one. The monolithic suppressor, the FFS Ranger is going to be the best barrel that you're going to want to increase the range to as much as possible, to those numbers that I mentioned in the video. Commando foregrip, obviously, to deal with that recoil stabilization and aiming stability at the cost of a little bit of some ADS speed, or not ADS speed, movement speed. Your 50 round mags is going to dramatically increase your basically magazine. You'll get 20 extra bullets, and that's the only one available, unfortunately. I wish they had a 60, but it's all good either way. And the stock's going to be the close quarter stock, which is going to increase that ADS speed. But if you don't want to use the stock, you could swap this out for the stapled grip tape as well. Both are pretty good. It's really entirely up to you, but you're going to want to increase the range as well as the magazine as much as possible with this weapon. So this is going to be the ideal setup for the RAM-7. And last but not least, the oh so popular GRAU 5.56. I covered this in a video, but we'll cover it again in this video. Alright, and we are here with the GRAU 5.56 class setup. This is going to be a little bit different from the other setups. We're going to be rocking the monolithic suppressor, your temp is 26.4 Archangel barrel. Now I actually did a video covering the Nexus barrel, which is still a very good attachment, even though though it says it decreases your range, like I mentioned, that range you're only losing about 2 to 5 meters max, which really is not a big deal in Warzone. I promise you it's not. As long as you're hitting your shots, both barrels are going to be very good. This one's going to give you more ADS speed though, but if you want more consistency, then the Tempest 26.4 Archangel barrel is going to be the go-to. And the best thing about this is that the iron sights are probably some of the best iron sights I've ever seen in the game, and you actually get a massive boost to your range, which is really nice. But definitely recommend you rock either the 26.4 or the 20.8. Underbarrel is going to be the same at Commando foregrip to decrease that recoil stabilization, to deal with those issues and compensate for any problems you might run with the gun jumping around at longer ranges. 60 round mags is going to be the go-to if you're playing multiplayer. Swap this out for the 50. That way you don't have to deal with ADS speed. To compensate for that ADS speed, we're going to be rocking the no stock attachment. If you do not want to use this, because it does actually decrease your recoil control just a tad bit, not really dramatic, you could swap this out for something like the XRK Void, which is going to increase your ADS speed, and just leave the take off the stock and then just swap that out. But anyways guys, that's pretty much going to do it for the class setups. Let's go ahead and jump right back over to some gameplay. But anyways guys, that's gonna do it for the video. I'm gonna leave you guys to the rest of the video with some clips, some highlights, and some other funny moments using all three of these weapons. Some of you guys that are loyal to my channel and watched all my videos may have seen these clips already, but I felt it was necessary to use them for the video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments box if you made it this far in the video. Comment down below, which assault rifle do you use and why do you use it? Let's talk about that in the comments box, and I'll try to reply to as many as I can. If you guys also have a suggestion for a weapon I have not used in a video or have covered on my channel, make sure you guys leave a comment down below. If I do choose your class setup, then I will be sure to put your comment in the video so you guys can get a chance to be in one of my videos. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next video. It is your boy Connor, your primitive AK, signing out. Enjoy the rest of the video, fellas. Down one. I'm inside the house.
Got him.
Checking out the situation, man.
There's another team behind them. There's another team behind them. Pushing us? Yep.
I don't see him. I got no eyes. I have eyes now. He's down. Window.
Armor broken in window.
I down two.
In the window?
Yeah, in the window. I'm pushing it. One's downstairs, one's upstairs.
Whatever gun they're running is meta.
Good stuff.
Self-res.
I just hit a self-res?
Outside.
Good stuff.
Outside. You got it. No more. There's still more. No. Lobby, take that. Shit, Ocean.
Nice save, guys.
Killed one. There's two. One team here and one team high. That's what it is.
I got the other one hiding.
Oh, what the fuck?
I down two. Good kill confirmed. Is that all of them?
There's one more in there, I think. Wait, hold on. Solo.
I downed one.
Down one in the back.
In the warehouse! In the warehouse! Accurate in front of you!